What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. It is time to review roster update number 4. Already taken a quick look at it, seeing who's gone diamond, who's gone gold. It's not bad. It's not bad. What are there, 5 new diamonds? Like, what do I always say? It's a banger at the beginning, because a lot of times it is, and I think this would qualify. If you get 5 new diamonds, you got banger status. I think that's fair to give it banger status. Now, I know a few guys missed that we were hoping for. I'll get into one at third base that I am completely floored with. I don't know, y'all. I'm stunned too. So I don't understand. We'll get into that over there. But let's get into starters initially here. We see Ohtani goes down 1, gets hit in his hits and Ks, but then gets a little boost in his walk rate. Can't quite salvage the one that he lost, though. A little nooch there for Corbin Burns. Hits and Ks go down, walks goes up. Garrett Cole gets an upgrade, which is funny coming off of yesterday's start, but that's, of course, because yesterday's start does not count for this. So that will be accounted for in the next roster update. It's just always funny whenever that happens, that somebody got an update because it locks on Tuesday, and then Wednesday or Thursday they get blasted, and it just looks weird because you're like, how did this guy get an update? But again, it locks on Tuesdays, so yesterday's disaster against the Twins does not count. If he doesn't rebound, he will lose those points next time. Verlander gets nooched. McClanahan, what a stud, man. Up to an 87. He could be 90-something, relatively soon. He just keeps beasting. He's been the AL Cy. He's been arguably the best pitcher in baseball this year. By fantasy, he has been. Standard 5x5, wins, ERA, whip, strikeouts, and, saves doesn't count for starters, so they only have 4 categories. But in a standard fantasy, he is the best pitcher right now, Shane McClanahan. Joe Musgrove gets to diamond. Now, I was a little nervous on this one, y'all. I had him for an 84, and I thought he was going to get nooched. So, but I put him in there just to point out, hey guys, I think it's going to take a little bit longer. Don't get your hopes up. What I didn't account for was the +2 on stamina. And listen, when I predict something and I'm wrong, I'm fine taking the L. It's no problem. I'm not going to be 100%. I'm not too worried about it. But sometimes when something happens where I'm like, I couldn't have really seen that coming, I'm only taking like a partial L. And what is it for? What does it matter? No one's keeping track. I know, but in my head. So on this one, it's like, stamina upgrade. Come on. I didn't know a stamina upgrade was coming. So I kind of feel like, all right, I'm glad he went diamond, but how could I have known they were going to, like, they don't do stamina upgrades all the time. It's kind of like when they do a clutch upgrade, or the strikeouts and walks get heavily boosted for a hitter or something, or vision and discipline, I should say, which is strikeouts and walks. So sometimes those secondary factors get updated. I'm usually looking at the core, which for pitchers, it's the main 3: hits per 9, Ks per 9, walks per 9. For batters, it's what I call the core 4, the 2 contact and the 2 power metrics. Those are the metrics that are primarily focused on. And unless there's like a great change, like for example, a couple weeks ago, I was talking about Tariq School's homer per 9 going up. It doesn't really matter, and I barely think it moves the needle for his overall. But if it moves it at all, then it deserved to be moved up, because he had like a 42 hit homer 9, and he's only given up 2 homers all year. I think it's up to 3 now. So sometimes I will point those out, but I missed on the stamina. So it's all right. I don't feel bad about this. He was a hold for diamond anyway. It's not like I encourage people to sell on him. I said just hold tight. He might not get it. So anyway, long-winded answer to cover myself, because here's another 84 that I missed. Now this one was just flat out, I didn't know that the BB9 gain would counterbalance the hits and the Ks. That's all right. I'll take the L there. I thought he was going to get nooched. I did think he was going to get a dip in hits per 9, but it was only 2 points. So the +5 in the walks per 9 helped him get there. So good for Manoah. Noah gets diamond. We did have that one. Like I said, he's been diamondy all year. So I would have really been surprised. Stumbling over my words there. I would have really been surprised if he didn't get it. So I'm glad he did. Gosman loses 1, but keeps diamond right now. He needs to kind of get back on track. We were actually talking about him on my podcast today, Justin and I, and I was surprised that he's kind of smoothed out a little bit. Not bad or anything. Nobody's suggesting that he's bad, but he was like a top 2 pitcher for most of the season, and now, because we were talking about rankings, Gausman is ranked like 23rd among starters this year, which is fine. It's good, but it's a dip from where he was. Sandy got right there. They put him on the cusp. I had 83. I knew it was going to be 83, 84. I would have been really surprised if they'd have gone all the way to Diamond. My boy Pitching Rebel, big Marlins fan, he was a little bummed. He tweeted out that, he's bummed that Manoah went to Diamond before Alcantara, which I get. The only thing is, the reason that it doesn't bother me too much is it's based on the fact that Manoah started the season 2 points higher. That's really the only reason, because if you compare the two, Alcantara has been unquestionably better on the whole. But because Manoah had a 2-point advantage to start the season, that's what helped him get there first. Alcantara will get Diamond. I'm not too worried about it. Pablo gets nooched. Just hang on if you got him. Obviously, he's an 84. Rodon goes down 2 points, loses his Diamond. I totally get that. This was another guy like Gausman that we were talking about today on the show, saying, he's been good, but he hasn't quite been, holy shit, top of the scale Rodon the way he was at the very beginning of the year. You can see his whip is already up to 125 on the season, which is, it's not great for an ace. And he's supposed to be like a big time ace. So he could go back to Diamond for sure. We'll see where his price level's out to if we want to decide to get back in. But for now, just let the price come down. I wouldn't go jumping in right away with Rodon, because there's also no guarantee that he does get back on track. So let's see where the price goes. Cortez, I felt like this was going to be an 84 setting up for a potential Diamond run. Because listen, he's been pitching brilliantly. He's been one of the best pitchers in baseball this year. He was quite good last year. But I think they want to see just a bit more before they really push him to Diamond, because it is still, more of a finesse guy who's doing it. It's not Martin Perez. Martin Perez couldn't strike me and half the chat out. But that's why he feels like, okay, how dominant is he? But Cortez, he's got 9.9 Ks. He doesn't walk anybody. He doesn't give up too many homers. There's just a lot to like about what Cortez is doing. If he keeps pitching like this, he'll get Diamond, and probably next update, to be honest. So hold your Cortez shares. I never thought he was going to get it this week, but another good couple weeks and he'll get there. Scoobs, one of the very few things going well for the Tigers. They just got news today that Casey Mize is going to go down with TJ. So that blows. Scooble, not a lone bright spot, but like I said, one of very few bright spots for the Tigers. He gets +2 coming off of his Player of the Month. He's setting up for a Diamond run as well. I think the main thing you should watch is the Ks. If the Ks go up, he's going to go Diamond for sure. He can still get there without a K spike, but that would be the easiest way. And he has that potential in his arsenal. We know he's a strikeout stud. Even this year, 9.6 is fine. But he needs to kind of push that up to like 11 or so. I think that would get him a nice, healthy boost. If he had a couple double-digit strikeout games in this next period, he would get himself to Diamond. Kopech goes up 1. I think he's on a Diamond path as well. The problem is the volatility with him, start to start. He's had some velo dips that have been alarming. He's had major health issues throughout his career, and he has huge walk problems, as you can see here by the -3 that dipped him down to 45. That will be a difficult hurdle for him to get over to get Diamond. He either needs the Ks to go through the roof to where I'm talking about, 12 K9 type of deal, or he needs to fix the walks. One of those two things has to come true, because he's not maxed out on hit 9, but he's pretty close. Like, how high are they really going to send a live series hit 9? And eventually, it's more likely than not that he'll probably start to give up more hits just from standard regression. So he needs to figure out the walks or get a boatload more Ks if we're going to see a big Diamond run from Kopech. Max Fried gets nooched. Not too surprising there, but he's still in the Diamond realm at least. Montas +2, also in the Diamond realm now, getting these 2 points. If he keeps pitching well, he'll put himself in position. He's another guy. He's similar right now to Scooble, where if he has a big K surge, he can get there pretty easily. Wheeler gets nooched. He gets +3 on Ks. It's not enough to move the needle. He's also back on Diamond track. Don't forget, the first few starts of his season were basically his spring training. He had to do spring training in the regular season. So he's been fine for a while now. He looks excellent. All systems go with Wheeler. Gallen loses 1 here, which I guess he hasn't been pitching as well lately. but he is definitely in the diamond realm. He was at 84, now he's at 83. Anytime you're 1-2 points away, we know you're obviously on the cusp of level changing. He also has the K issue, so he's just kind of right there with Montas and Scooble. If he gets the Ks up, he's got an easy path to diamond. If not, then it'll be much harder. He either has to, limit walks like crazy or like give up no hits. Garrett Whitlock, he got the big stamina boost, which helped offset a downgrade here because I think the -5s on hits and Ks would have delivered a downgrade and it wouldn't have been countered by the +3 in walks. I think the stamina boost saved him. Listen, we did learn today that he's been dealing with a hip issue, and that could definitely be why he hasn't been pitching as well. So I don't know if Riven's in here, but I'm not going to concede to you just yet now that I heard about the hip issue. Because Riven's been on the case that he's not that good of a starter, and I'm like, I don't know. But then the last few starts, I'm like, okay, maybe you're right. But now I hear the hip issue, I'm like, wait a minute. Now we have to wait. Now we have to peel back and see, is it the hip or is it the skill? I don't know. We'll see. Eovaldi, Javier, and Gilbert all get nooched. Like these four right here, none of them are really diamond considerations that I'm holding right now. If you've got them, I guess you can hang on, but you're going to be waiting a while. They're all quality pitchers, but they're going to take 2-3 updates to get diamond, if at all. Same with Bassett. Obviously, he got downgraded here. He hasn't been pitching as well lately. He's still fine, but not somebody I'd be holding for diamond with Bassett. Manaea gets +1. I don't really see him as a diamond candidate. I do think Kyle Wright has diamond potential, though. I've really been interested in this breakout all year. I've repeated it a lot. I'll say it one more time. Former number 5 overall pick. This is a fully pedigreed stud that was expected to be very good. One thing I'd like to see them do is update the control on his pitches, which they've been better about in recent years. When they update these guys who started as like bronzes or commons, sometimes they don't upgrade their pitches to kind of go with it. Well, I see 48 control right now. That's probably too low for somebody who, has greatly improved the command and control of his pitches this year. He's got 3.1 walks, which isn't elite, but I mean, coming into this season, Kyle Wright had a 6.2 BB9 in 70 innings. So he's literally sliced it in half, and I think he should get a little love on the control. Now, moving the control of his pitches will not change the overall. I'm talking about this just from a usefulness aspect. Not that anyone's like using 81 Kyle Wright in their ranked seasons lineup or anything, but if you're using him in mini seasons or something, I think they need to upgrade that so he's more usable. Severino gets gold. We saw this one coming because he's just been awesome. He looks back, and it's great. It's great to see. I mentioned this last night on the update video about how even if you don't like the Yankees, you should be happy that Severino's back healthy. It's always great when somebody battles back from extreme injuries to get back and pitch the way they can, and I'm enjoying it, even as a Yankee hater. Dylan Cease, man. Our buddy Nick Pollock calls him a cherry bomb. Actually, he calls him like the ultimate cherry bomb, the top of the scale. And it's like a cherry bomb, sometimes sweet, but can blow up in your face. That's like his description of players like this, who when they're on, they're amazing. But when they're off, they just get absolutely dumpstered. And you can totally see that perfectly encapsulated in the fact that Cease has a 2.44 ERA, which is amazing, but a 1.25 whip, which isn't that good. Those two don't really match. And usually when your whip is way higher than it is for a corresponding ERA, it usually means your ERA is going up. Now, he's good enough to avoid that and just kind of get back on track to bring the whip back down. But be careful with Dylan Cease. I mean that both in like in the fantasy realm, but also in terms of like investing in him for diamond. Because early in the year, he looked like one of the best pitchers going. And I'm sure there were a lot of people buying up a bunch of shares trying to get him to diamond. You're going to have to wait a while. I would practice extreme patience here because the volatility can wreak havoc. You see a downgrade here, he could be up 2 points the next time, down 1 the one after that, then up 3. It can bounce around. So if you're not patient, if you don't have the ability to kind of relax when you invest in somebody, don't invest in somebody like Cease because it'll drive you mad. Darvish gets nooched. Taillon comes to gold as well. He and Severino both got there. So we're still not seeing any Ks from Taillon, but he was still able to get to gold in spite of that. This is probably where he peaks, though. I really don't think he's going to move much beyond a low gold. You see his control and break got upgraded. That's what we need for Kyle Wright. Robbie Ray clutching to gold by the skin of his teeth here after losing another point. He's been up and down. I mean, he's kind of back to, he's not 100% the old Robbie Ray, but he's clearly not last year's Robbie Ray either. So I think this is just how it's going to be, and he could lose gold and then go back to it. Like, I think he's going to live kind of in the 78 to 82 range this year. So neat. Clev Dog gets nooched. Walker Buehler -3. I mean, I get it. I love Walker Buehler. I thought he was going to be an absolute unquestioned stud this year. He has not been. He's given up more hits than innings pitched. He has fewer than a strikeout per inning. Like, it's not been going well. He deserved to get hit hard here. And if he has another bad run, he'll be out of gold next period. My boy Sticks, Tristan McKenzie. Dr. Sticks is his nickname. My body comp, my number one body comp. Exact same height and weight, 6'5", 170, baby. Straws, stand up, let's go. So we're both a couple of awesome stop signs, and he gets to gold. There's a world where he goes diamond, but I'm talking like August. So if you got in on McKenzie when he was bronze, I think he started bronze, right? Or maybe low silver. But if you got in at the very beginning of the year and you just want to hold out for the whole year, I get it. But you're going to be in for a long time for potential diamond. So I'm personally going to sell out here. I got the gold. I'm moving on from my McKenzie shares because he's just not getting the strikeouts that we need to really push anything beyond a low gold. Sonny Gray puts himself on the cusp of gold. He could definitely get there. We've seen him be gold before, so it's not that surprising. Gonzo, so close. So close. If he keeps pitching the way he has been, though, he will go gold. I had him going to a 79 only because the strikeout rate just wasn't quite as high as I was hoping for this period. As you can see, 4 on the hits, 4 on the walks, but only 1 on the Ks. So if he gets a few more Ks, honestly, if he keeps the walks down the way he has like the last month plus, actually for most of the year, then he'll go gold off of that. It'll be similar to Tyone, right? Like this sort of similar, well, actually a little bit different because basically flip the walks and the hits. But what I mean is that hits and walks will carry it while the Ks lag behind. So Gonsolin's kind of similar. He's got the big hits instead of the big walks. And then Tyone has better hits 9 than Gonsolin does BB9. So that was a confusing example. I should have just said he's like Tyone. He can do it without strikeouts. But I decided to make it super convoluted and annoying. I'm sorry. But he is a hold for gold, obviously. Carrasco's been a little volatile this year, but more good than bad for sure. And you can see he does have kind of a Gonsolin Tyone profile as well, so he can get gold there. Syndergaard, man, he's not Thor anymore. He's not the Thor of yesteryear where he just blows it away or blows it by guys and strikes out everybody. That's kind of the big issue right now, and that's going to kind of keep him in this like 78 to 82 range, similar to who else was that? Oh, Robbie Ray. Except Robbie Ray still has he still has his Ks. So all I mean by that is just that they're going to live in the 78 to 82. The way they do it is different. Jormont and Lauer, a couple of interesting lefties, both of whom I like and both of whom I feel are hold for gold. So stay the course with both of them if you're already invested. Jeffrey Springs, kind of a dickhead IRL, but you know what? +3 for him. He definitely can go gold. He has pitched very well. Despite his terrible decision-making, I will not obscure the fact that he's been pitching very well. So Giolito -2 loses his gold. He's another, would-be fantasy ace who's been a lot more inconsistent than I think we realize unless he's on your fantasy team. Because I was surprised when I saw that his whip was so high. I didn't realize he was up at 139 right now, and that's really hurting you in the fantasy realm. You can't do anything about it, though. Like, what are you going to do, bench him? No. You're going to cut him? God, no. So it's just one of those things you got to ride out. I think if you over-manage with studs like this, they drop, a 15 strikeout one hitter on your bench, and then what? So I don't bother with trying to time it with guys like this. If you didn't draft him, sure, but if you have him, you got to ride it out with Giolito. There's no sitting him until he gets good or something. Like, he's been fine. Like, the whip's too high, but 11.5 Ks and 3.5 ERA, you're fine. Luis Garcia gets nooched. He's on the cusp for gold. He can certainly get there, but the Ks just really haven't been there this year. So put him in the Gonsolin Tyone class. Except I do worry a little bit because he doesn't quite have the little difference between those guys is Gonsolin and Tyone each have a standout skill. For Gonsolin, it's the hits 9. For Tyone, it's the BB 9. And neither of them strike out many guys. Garcia is pretty good in hits, pretty good in walks, and has a bad K9. He needs to excel in one of those categories if he's going to push gold. Don't look now, but Luis Castillo's getting back on track, y'all. I think he's been a little bit overshadowed by the fact that Cincinnati hasn't been good, obviously, and he got a late start to his season. However, that might have been the best thing for him, because if you're familiar with Luis Castillo, you know the number one thing about him is that he can't pitch in cold weather. No wonder he's one of my favorite pitchers. I fucking hate cold weather too. But for real, there's a distinct link between like anything under 65 degrees and his ERA. Like 65, 70 degrees, whatever the cutoff is, when he starts to get a little bit of chill in the air, it's over for Castillo. So he joins on May 9th. He starts his season, and he's been pretty great from the jump. 3.55 ERA, 112 whip, and 34 strikeouts in 33 innings. He can definitely go gold. He's been pitching very nicely so far. Michaelis loses 2. Put him in the Tyone Gonsolin tier for sure. He can definitely get gold. He had a good start yesterday as well. Again, I'm going to keep repeating because another guy in the same tier. Put Webb there as well. Now he's been more like Luis Garcia, where he hasn't shown a standout on the hits or the walks, but I do think his walk rate is set to go up because he's really been looking better lately. Webb has. He started off a little bumpy, but he's starting to find the command of his stuff a lot more, and I do think he'll eventually go gold. Urias loses gold, and we saw what happened with Buehler earlier. Their two aces have been really rough, and it hasn't affected them at all. They're still awesome. Like, that's just the way it goes, because guys like Tyler Anderson are making up, and Tony Gonsolin, right? So they basically just replaced Urias and Buehler with Anderson and Gonsolin beasting, and then they're right back where they should be, you know? And it does make sense that a changeup guy would have problems in cold weather like Castillo, as the chat points out. We are on Twitch right now, twitch.tv/sport. If you're watching this on YouTube, come through and hang out. We do this on update days, right around the time the update drops. I was a little later today, but usually around 2 p.m. Central on update Fridays. Come on through. Our boy Blake, -2. Totally get it. He's our boy, but you know, he would acknowledge himself that he's not pitching all that well right now. But it is like his 4th or 5th start of the year. So he's also kind of doing some of his spring training, some of his ramp up on the job. Eflin up 1. Yes, put him in the Tyone Gonsolin tier where he could get there. The walks are great. The hits need to be better, or the Ks, right? He needs to figure out one of those. So he's on the Gonsolin Tyone train, but he's not quite in their tier yet. Is Martin Perez going to get gold? No way, right? No way. How much longer can this last? I'm glad he got to silver. Good for him. This is a fun run, but like, it has to end in like such an ugly way, right? I'm sorry, guys, but I'll reference my friend Nick Pollock again. He has a name for this. And this is playing out exactly like the namesake. He calls it a Vargas rule. And this is based on the 2017 season of Jason Vargas, wherein he started off so strong that you simply couldn't ignore it. He was amazing. And it was like, how could you possibly overshadow like what he's doing by saying, oh, look at his history or whatever? It didn't matter, because 1 month in, it was a 140 ERA. Then it was still a 239 after May. It was still a 222 after June. You're like, this is legit. But it wasn't. It clearly was. Like, he was pitching well. No doubt about it, right? Like, he was pitching some of the best baseball of his life. There's no two ways around that. But it was an 18% strikeout rate, which for those that don't know is very pedestrian. It was a 6% walk rate, which is good. 6% walk rate is very good. That's always been Vargas's strength. The 275 BABIP was helping, and then he had a 0.7 homer per 9. And then if you look, prior to that, he had a 1.1 homer 9. So he cut off about a half homer per 9. His walk rate had improved. His hit rate was way down. And he was running hot. Yes, he was pitching well, right? You don't just fake this if you're some shit pitcher. But they're all major leaguers. They're all at a certain level of quality, right? And this just shows that even the worst major leaguer, and he's not the worst, but you know what I mean? Even the lower tier major leaguers can be elite for their, 3 months at a time. So that's basically where we're at with Martin Perez. I'm sorry, like I can't pretend it's better than it is. That's the thing. I just can't. Because if you look, what are the differences between these two seasons here for Perez? The strikeouts are down. So are the walks, but very little. The home run rate is literally the best in baseball. And the hit rate, he's shaved 4 hits off. You can shave off 4 hits off of your hits per 9 and have a league best home run rate with 1 homer. I mean, come on. That will regress, though. That will regress. Yank fan, I hope he goes diamond. I hope Perez goes diamond, but it ain't going to happen. Anyway, sorry for the diatribe there. I'm rooting for Perez, but I also have to be a realist. It's just not good. And Chad, I did see that you guys have been pointing out that Royce Lewis tore his ACL again, and that really, 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 really sucks. +1 for Kluber. I would not hold for gold, though, y'all. Like, he is pitching well, and he can certainly get there, but there's just so much volatility with him, primarily related to his health. And I just feel like I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop on his health these last few years. So, I mean, I'm not getting invested in it. It's up to you if you want, and it's not for me. Mackenzie Gore, however, absolutely. He jumps into the silver tier with a 2-point boost to 76. It'll take a little bit. Probably 2 updates unless he just has a killer 3 or 4 start up. Can you actually get 4 starts in an update if you start on, let's say if you started on the Wednesday of an update, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, you can't. So you can really only start 3 times in an update period, even if you start the Wednesday after it locks on Tuesday night. But anyway, a great 3-start run. Like if Gore, I don't know, struck out like 30 with 2 walks and like 12 hits over, I don't know, like 22 innings or some shit. That's obviously outsized. He could get 4 points off of that. It's probably going to take 2 updates. Just sit tight with your Mackenzie Gore shares, though, because a lot of y'all have been on him since the beginning of the year, and he came pretty cheap. Tyler Wells and Adam Wainwright -1. Fromberto +1. Fromberto can get gold, but I just don't really see it because neither the Ks nor the walks are there. So it would take like an outsized run. Do not invest in him right now. P. Sandy, that's my boy, man. That's what the flamingo behind that painting is nicknamed Sandy for both Sandy Alcantara and Patrick Sandoval. You can only see his head, but yeah, that's that. I got that from Nick Pollock too. Nick Pollock is the star of this update show right now. But yeah, he goes down too. I totally get it. I love P. Sandy, but you can start selling off shares if you want. You know, he just doesn't have quite the feel for his changeup right now that he did most of last year. And you know, if I put him in a Luis Castillo jersey, you would think this was 2021 early season Luis Castillo. Maybe not to the same degree because he's actually Patrick Sandoval has maintained a pretty good ERA, whereas Castillo's was like a 7. But the whip, the lower strikeouts, he's just struggling right now. My boy Paul Blackburn is a high silver. Like that's his max is what I mean. He's a mid silver right now, but 78, 79 is probably his peak. I would not hold for gold with Blackburn. I'm in on him as a fantasy breakout this year in deeper leagues or a streamer in like 10 and 12 team situations. but I would not invest in him for gold because he just doesn't miss enough bats. Nor do I think he'll hold the hits down well enough to go gold. Molly goes down 1. He's actually been pitching better, including at home lately, so I'm surprised he went down 1, but this must include a bad start or two that I'm not remembering. Kyle Gibson down 1. His early season rush has been counterbalanced pretty badly. I think OU just made a diving catch to win their College World Series game. Makes me fucking sick. OU also beat the Horns in the Women's College World Series, and then the Horns lost today against Eastern Carolina. God, fucking Longhorns. I should be used to it by now. We don't win anything anymore. We fucking suck. Anyway, Dane Dunning +1, good for him. +2 for Pavetta. +7 for Mitch White. So this is a big boost, plus the switch to SP. We love to see it, getting him to silver. Problem is, I don't see any room to invest for gold because Kershaw and Heaney are working their way back, and Mitch White has to be the loser there. They probably have to figure out how to get somebody else out too. I don't know if it's going to be Tyler Anderson or what, because I mean they're not going to take Gonsolin out, so I don't know what they're going to do. We got to see Heaney get healthy first. Like, let's not count our chickens before they hatch. But Kershaw's on rehab. He'll come back. He'll boot White back to the bullpen. So if you have any shares here, sell him at silver, because if he does relieve this entire period, then they'll put him back to RP next period and he'll lose like 4 points, which even if he loses 1 point, he would lose silver. So if you have Mitch White, sell now. Michael Wacha +2 to silver. He has a great ERA and whip, y'all, but there are just not enough skills supporting this. This is pretty similar to the Martin Perez thing, where home run suppression and hit suppression are the main factors here, neither of which is particularly sustainable. Ranger Suarez -1. Aaron Ashby +3. I really like him. Now, he'll be in the rotation for a while with Freddie Peralta out, even though he's still 5 points away. If he keeps the walks in check, I do believe Aaron Ashby can get to gold in relatively short order in one of the next 2 updates. Morton down 1, Keller down 1. Keegan Thompson up 6, also got a position change. This is similar to Mitch White, except that he's actually going to stay in the rotation. Now, he absolutely got dumpstered by Baltimore earlier this week, just as everyone was kind of getting excited about him in the fantasy realm. So that kind of sucked. I don't really see hold for gold status right now anyway. So again, if you have Keegan Thompson shares for whatever reason, go ahead and sell now, because I don't think he's really going to go much higher. Hunter Green gets +3. He's actually stringing some things together, but it seems with volatile arms like this, whenever you start to gain some trust in them and get excited, they pull the rug out from under you with like 7 earned runs shellacking. So be careful with Hunter Green if you try to invest in gold. He has the raw talent to get gold. He absolutely does. But he's 5 points away and he walks everybody. So it will be a grind, and you will probably be very annoyed. Like, he'll probably have an update where he like goes up to 78, and then he has 2 good starts, and then he's 1 more start before the roster update, and then he has like 6 walks and ruins the update type of deal. Like, it's going to be that sort of back and forth shit with Hunter Green. Invest at your own risk. I'm not dealing with the headache. Jay Gray, Josiah and John both get nooched at 74. Merrill Kelly down 2. You know, that Dodger start that he had kind of started a run of like 3 or 4 crummy starts, but he got back on track, I think, yesterday or the day before with a good start. I still like him. I still think he's probably a low silver. So probably, I mean, he's 74 right now, so I say he's a 74 to 77 range guy. Early on, he was missing more bats, had more velo, but I just don't think he has enough strikeouts to really push gold at any point. -2 for Walker and Bumgarner, -1 for Alex Wood. George Kirby gets +4. I think Kirby can go silver for sure, and maybe even gold. If you want to do a long-term investment in him for gold, I can see that. Stripadip, he's back, and he's starting for a while Hyun-Jin Ryu is out. He can get to silver. That's the furthest I'm willing to go with him. Quantrill is like a peak high bronze. -2 for Dakota Hudson. Dakota Hudson's one of those guys who has great results, but the core skills underneath don't really show it because he's just a ground ball machine. I say just, that's kind of rude. I'm not trying to like diminish that as if that's not a good skill. But what I mean by that is, for our purposes here, where we care about, you know, strikeouts, walks, and hit suppression, the fact that ground balls are really his only discernible skill, makes it difficult to really see him going silver, let alone gold, even though 2.43 ERA looks like somebody who should be, at least a silver. But that's why we don't judge things off of ERA, because they don't tell us what the skills are. And he's got the best defense in the universe supporting him. So he could not be a better fit for the team that he's on with Dakota Hudson. It just doesn't do much good for us here in the MLB The Show realm. I'll mention if somebody I care about is on this list. Marquez, -1, Zim, Lyles, Flexen, Gonzalez, all -1, +6 for Corbin Martin. That's just a position change. +1 for Quintana, -1 for Hearn. Smeltzer gets a position change. So does Gilbert. Glenn Otto +2. He hit the COVID list tonight. I wouldn't rule out a long-term silver, but it's not worth investing in. Libertor +1, whatever. Ricky Benasco, Johan Oviedo, Josh Rogers, bunch of position changes there. JP Sears, Packy Naughton, and Shelby Miller. Nothing there. Tropiano, Godley, Killian, nobody. Oh, Graham Ashcroft. I'll tell you what. He could go silver and be a long-term thing, but I wouldn't even be surprised if he found a way to gold. The linchpin for gold would be if Graham Ashcraft can turn some of this swing and miss into strikeouts. He has a good swinging strike rate, which you might not realize because his strikeout rate is terrible. You see it 4.9 Ks. That is god awful in today's game. That's laughably bad in today's game. But he has in his last 2 games, he has a 13% swinging strike rate. His first 2 games, he had 4% and 5%. His last 2, it's been 12 and 13.5. So it's there. He has good stuff. He throws a 98-mile-an-hour sinker. He's got a pretty decent slider. Actually, does he have a true third pitch? Does he have a true changeup? That part I do not know for sure. Doesn't look like it. It looks like he's cutter, fastball, or cutter, sinker, slider. So we've seen some bats be missed in these last 2 starts though, and if he can get the strikeouts up to a quality level, let's say even for Graham Ashcroft right now, he doesn't even need to go up above a strikeout per inning. If he can get up to 8.2 with the hit and walk suppression that he's had, he'll easily go to silver, and then we can worry about gold because that's a long way down the road. But I've been impressed with him. When he first came up, I was like, who's this Graham Ashcroft guy? Is this just Connor Overton part 2 for Cincinnati? But no, there is some legitimacy here, and I think Ashcroft is worth paying attention to. New relievers. Oh, Roenis Ilyas is back? Wow. I had no idea. So AJ Minter gets +1 up to 82. The way he's pitching this year, especially with the walk suppression, he could go diamond. AJ Minter could absolutely go diamond. I never thought I'd say that because he used to walk everybody, but he has really turned a corner starting back in last year's playoffs, if you remember. Obviously, Braves fans do. And I'm sure a lot of y'all remember how great Will Smith and Tyler Matzik were. But AJ Minter was very good as well. And I'm trying to pull up his postseason numbers right now. He had let's see here. He had a 3 ERA because he did give up some runs. He gave up 3 runs on Halloween. 3 earned in 1 inning there. But 18 strikeouts in 12 innings with 8 hits and 4 walks. He was great in the playoffs. Even with that outing, it was a 3 ERA. But he was just fantastic. Johan Duran +3. He gets to gold. There's another guy I think could go diamond. I really do. We don't talk too much about relievers going diamond because it is difficult because they only get 5-6 innings every roster update. But both these guys here, Duran and Minter, could go diamond. I'm holding on to my Duran shares just for a long time right now until something drastically negative would have to happen for me to jump off. Otherwise, I'm just going to see if this goes to diamond because I bought him when he was a common. A lot of us did. So let's just hold out and see where it goes. Michael King gets Nooch. He too could go diamond. He has the skills to do it. It would not surprise me. Devin Williams, obviously, let's get him back to gold before we talk about diamond. Man, they only went +1 on Daniel Hudson. I mean, part of that is just not knowing. He was basically a low 78. And that's just one of those things that... So, for those of you that are new to the community, it used to be that the offline roster matched the online one. So what I could do is I can go in the offline roster, put in what I think the guys should move up in the particular categories, and then I would know what I thought. Meaning, let's say I thought that Daniel Hudson was going to get +2 in hits and +4 in walks. I would put that in the roster and see, okay, that pushes him up to a 79. Don't say he's going to go gold. Now it's more of a guessing game. Because the offline and online rosters don't match, I just kind of have to gut call it a little bit and be like, well, he's been great. Is a hit and walk upgrade worth 2 points? I don't know. That's why I like to use Inside Edge when I can. A lot of times Inside Edge will give me a good insight on whether or not somebody can get upgraded. In fact, it led me down a bad path, I will admit, but it's what led me to thinking that Jason Adam would get upgraded yesterday. If you watch the video I did for YouTube for the roster updates, he didn't get anything. Oh, wow. Well, when I was going through, I had projected him to go to 79 for Jason Adam. And I saw that all he needed was like +2 on 2 categories with Inside Edge, and it moved him to an 80. So then I changed my idea. I was like, well, I think he's going to go 80 now because that's such a small upgrade. And they didn't fucking give him anything. That's kind of annoying, but whatever. Anywho, I'm still holding for gold on Daniel Hudson, by the way, if that wasn't clear. My boy Giovanni -1, I totally get it. He's lost the closer's job too. Very sad. I do still think he'll get back to gold, so I'm not too worried about it. But he does lose 1 here. So let the price bottom out a bit, and then we'll get back in on Gallegos down the road. Montero +1. He's been great this year. I definitely think he's a hold for gold. Luke -2. If you were holding because he was a 79, just sit tight. I would not get too hung up on this because he's only thrown 19 2/3. I think he got a late start to his season. He's been great for the most part. If you have Loop, just hold. If you don't have Loop, wait till his price comes down now that he's a 77 and then jump in. I think I'm going to too because I don't have any right now, but when I see his price drop down a bit, I'm going to get in then. Fire Rising got a position change, I think from CP to RP. Nothing crazy there. Graveman -2, Tapera -3, Dominguez +4 into silver. I will say this, if Dominguez keeps the walks in check, he can go gold for sure. So I'll put Dominguez on a hold for gold. Give it 2 updates though. I don't know why I did this. I did this. I gave a shocker for 2. Why did my pinky just randomly go up when I tried to do 2? Jesus. Anyway, yeah, give it like 2 updates at least. But if he keeps the walks in check, Sir Anthony Dominguez can absolutely go gold. Because, he's got electric stuff. I mean, look at 11.8 K9, 14 hits and 20 2/3. Like, that's incredible stuff. And he's healthy, finally. He looks great again for the first time in a while. Yimmy goes to silver. I don't really see gold for him because he doesn't strike a lot of guys out. So it puts so much burden on his walk and hit rates that I wouldn't go for this one. Colin Poche gets nooched. He might be in the closer for a while. That doesn't do anything for us on the MLB The Show side, but if in fantasy, he might start getting a bunch more saves because Kittredge just went out with a elbow surgery to remove some loose bodies in his elbow there. So Poche, Jason Adam, JP Firerising, Matt Whistler, Brooks Raley, James Shields, Wilson Alvarez, all of those guys are going to get consideration for saves. Some of those players don't play on their team currently. You have to figure out which ones those are. Michael Fulmer +2 into silver. Colin McHugh gets nooched. Vesia -1 loses his silver. Ottavino, I got this like crazy itch on my head. Sorry about that. Ottavino +1. Brad Hand nooched. Seth Lugo -1. Will Smith -2. Dylan Tate +1. Victor Arano -1. Trevor Stephan -2. Unfortunate. I'm still in on him. Bloobs put me on to him a while ago. OSU Blue Buck. He's a big Cleveland fan, and he had a blip. I think he had 2 bad outings out of 3 or 4. So I'm not too worried about it. It's not like I'm in crazy on him. I bought him as a common or bronze. I think he started as a common, but we bought him a long time ago when Bloobs was like, "Yo, check out this guy. He's a monster." Actually, he had a pretty tough end of May. 4 of his last 5 outings in May were bad, flat out. So that explains it. He's not a huge investment guy anyway, but if you had him because he went to silver and you were thinking, oh, maybe he can go gold, he still can, You just got to be patient now. So again, you bought in cheap. Don't worry. My shares, they're like a savings bond. They're just off to the side. I'll check in on them in July. And Bloobs even says in the chat, yeah, it's a hiccup. I'm still holding for gold. Me too. Anybody here? Drew Smith, Ty Duffy, Matt Bush, Genesis Cabrera, Eli Morgan. I tell you what, Eli Morgan, I like him for silver. Speaking of Cleveland, and another guy that Bloobs has talked about, he is awesome. They have really found his role. It's more of that 2 to 3 inning guy. They tried to start him last year, and he would have you could see it. He would have a good 2 to 3 innings. You're like, this guy's got something. Then the 4th inning would come along, 2 walks, a hit, a homer, boom, he's out. Like, it happened so many times last year where he was cruising the first 1 or 2 times through the lineup, and then all hell broke loose. So they said, you know what? Let's stop putting him, in that situation. Let's just give him a couple innings at a time, and he's absolutely thriving. I would go so far as to say Eli Morgan is a long-term hold for gold as well. I really think he can get there. You see that his K rate just got a big boost. He's at 11.1 Ks. He's got a lot of juice. I'm big on Eli Morgan as well. Will Crow, friend of the Twitch community, specifically I believe friends with Daddy Dimu, but I've always held him in esteem. If you're a friend of Dimu, man, you can't be that bad of a dude. I mean, Dimu is, but the people who associate with him are. I'm just kidding. Matt Barnes -3. Richard Blyer got a position change. Why was he ever listed as their closer? Does he have any saves this year? Weird. Alex Lang +2. The very rare Tigers middle reliever who is like a flamethrower, missing a bunch of bats and looking like a beast. We do not get many of these in Tigers world, so I'm very excited about Alex Lang. He came over from the Cubs in, was it the Justin Wilson or Nick Castellanos deal? I don't remember. I have to check. I'm a fake Tigers fan wearing this hat. I'm a fucking fraud. It was the Castellanos deal. I felt that, but I didn't trust it. But anyway, he came over in the Castellanos deal. He's having a wonderful season. 17% swinging strike rate, which is incredible. If we could tamp down the walks a little bit, as you see, he got -4 there. We got to get the walks in check to get him to silver, but I do believe he can get there. Enyel De Los Santos, +5, another Cleveland guy. Damn, Cleveland's just turning him out. +2 for Trevino. He's getting back on track a little bit. For fantasy purposes, I would say keep an eye on Trevino if you're speculating for saves, and he was cut. Because when he came back, he lost his job to Danny Jimenez because Jimenez had been so good. But now, Jimenez is falling on a little bit of hard times, and I wonder if they would consider going back to Trevino. Now, it all might be temporary because they could trade both of them. Danny Jimenez is 28, Lou Trevino's 30. There's no reason for either of them to be on Oakland after the deadline. So be careful from that standpoint, investing too heavily in either. Oh, and never mind, Trevino got killed yesterday too. Never mind. Jimenez has opened the door, but not for Trevino. Now, I didn't realize Trevino gave up 4 runs on 5 hits and a walk yesterday in a third of an inning. And he gave up a run 2 days before that as well on a home run. So never mind. Trevino is not taking the opportunity. I'll tell you what then. I'll give you a better spec, a deep spec. AJ Puck. He will be their closer in the summer. After they trade Trevino for one baseball, not even a bag of balls. You know the old joke, trading for a bag of balls? They're going to get one baseball for him. And it'll be dented. It'll be a dented baseball for Trevino, and then one like C+ level prospect for Danny Jimenez. Once they do those trades, AJ Puck will be your closer there in Oakland. There you go. Simber, Noocht, Kinley +4. No, again, when we get this deep, we're starting to look for guys that we would talk about as investments. Otherwise, we're not really too worried about it. This is Edwin Diaz's brother, and he's quite nice. Can he stifle the walks enough to really move into silver and then maybe beyond? Possibly. But we're a long way out from there. He was a common, though. So if you got a bunch of common shares, all good. I see in the chat somebody said Miguel Andujar for Lou Trevino. If I'm Oakland, I would take that all day. You should ask for something better than that for him, for Andujar, for sure. Sergio Romo gets, or no, he doesn't even get Nooch. He got a position change. Finnegan +3. Mills, Okert. Zach Jackson, Sean Armstrong, nothing here. Domingo Acevedo, Felix Bautista. Bautista's pretty nice. He's been really good. I actually thought maybe and I was wrong on this. I'm taking an L. I got a little too drunk on those 2 saves that he got when Jorge Lopez was on paternity leave. I was like, I think they're going to share the job now. I got a little ahead of myself. I knew Lopez was out for a reason that was short term, by the way. I didn't think like, oh, he took the job while Lopez was gone. No, but I did think that they would share. And no, they've just put Lopez right back in the role, and Bautista is the fireman. But Jorge Lopez, 29 years old, has no business being on Baltimore after the trade deadline. And by the way, Bautista, for his own right, is only 27. Is 27, so he's not some young pup. But he is in his first year as a big leaguer, whereas Lopez, I think, is already in arbitration. So he's already making a few bucks. Like, it's only 1.5 mil this year, but for a team like Baltimore, spending 1.5 mil on a journeyman reliever makes no sense. He's actually having a good season. He'll have some value in the trade market. They desperately should trade Jorge Lopez, or else they're doing it wrong, in my opinion. Stratton, Holderman, Nick Nelson, Sam Selman, Hobie Hillner, and Zach Logue. Nothing really to see there. Ty Block, Junior Marte, and Jared Solomon. Nothing. Over to the closers. No new closers. Hader +1. He's now into 91. Taylor Rogers loses 1. Couple bad outings there. I'm not too worried. Jansen does lose his diamond. Diaz got nooched. That's tough, man. I thought he was going diamond, so that's why I'm bummed. I don't know. I thought he had done enough, and it was similar to what I said about Aaron Nola. I was like, he's been diamondy all year, so I think now's the time. It's not like he had a bad period either. Let's see, it was from May 25th through June 7th, so it was 4 innings. Okay, this is what I don't get. And listen, I generally see the rationale for like the vast majority of what they do. And just because they disagree with me doesn't mean they're wrong, right? I get shit wrong too. I miss stuff, I overrate stuff, or I'm working a little blind. So listen, I'm never here to suggest I'm always right. But what I don't get is why Edwin Diaz gets -5 on his hit 9 when he allowed 1 hit this period in 4 innings. Like, what is that for? And he's allowed 6.4 hits on the season. May 24th, he allowed 4 hits in 2/3 of an inning. But that was a Tuesday. That should have been reflected last update. Based on what I know of the updates, that update was from June 11th through May 11th through May 24th. So in that period, he allowed 9 hits in 5 2/3. Okay, so give him a downgrade for that. Did they give him a downgrade last roster update for Edwin Diaz and his hit rate? No, they did not. Why? Why are we getting it now? I don't get that. So that part bums me out though too, because then it becomes too much guesswork. Like, when are they going to do a catch up? Okay, this was a catch up from previously. Okay, well, are you just trying to make it tougher on us? I don't know. This one kind of bums me out, and it's not just because I called it for diamond and I'm wrong. Like, okay, fine, I'll take an L. Like I said, I take L's. I take tons of L's on any given roster update. I've never been 100%. I know, crazy. But when I take an L, I want it to make sense. And I will say this one does not make sense to me. I think this one's a miss. I'm just going to say it, okay? I think this one's a miss for them. I'm not afraid to call out. I'm brave, y'all. I'm very brave. I'm just kidding. But no, I'm not. They never take it personally if I'm like, okay, I didn't think they did this one well or anything. Because it's not a question on their character or anything. It's just disagreement in the numbers. Shar had him going 84. Shar had him getting nooched. Come on, man. How did Shar have that? That's bullshit. Shar also didn't have Devers going diamond. I think she's got somebody on the inside. Rory's giving her the data. There's just no way. How has Shar been 100% on the last 3 roster updates? 100% accurate? Huh? How? How did she know that Trevor Lane was going to get added? She had that on her sheet. Shar had Trevor Lane getting added to her sheet. Why does she even include the new players? This is irrelevant. Why'd she even include it? Just to flex on me? She's getting data. I refuse. She's getting data. You know what Willie grinds my gears, man? What Willie grinds Magnum PI's gears? Anyway, Raisel Iglesias, he's been sputtering. Of course, he gets a -3 there. He's been rough. He's been a big part of the Angels' failures. Do we forget that Shar is smarter than your honor student? It's actually Henry who presses the bell. It's not Shar. She's actually never pressed the bell. Hendricks nooched. Helsley nooched. Now, you see that velo, by the way? +23 on his velo. Oh, does this mean what it absolutely should mean? Nope. Boo. Boo. All right, I thought maybe he would have outlier. He should. He should. Anyway, back to the relief pitch or closers. I'm holding Helsley for Diamond, by the way. I'm also holding Hendricks at this point. If you bought back in on him after he lost his Diamond, he did get nooched here, but he's been pitching a lot better since that Buxton blow up in Minnesota about a month and a half ago now. At this point, he's been back on track. David Bednar is now a sneaky Diamond candidate, y'all. He's been amazing. If you remember, David Bednar really kind of emerged in the second half of last year. He was one of our big hold for gold candidates. We were waiting for Rich Rod to get the hell out of there, get traded so that they could center stage Bednar as the closer. And of course, they started giving the saves to Chris Stratton. But you don't need to be the closer to get love in MLB The Show. You can be a middle reliever. I just wanted him to get those saves and really get on SDS's radar. He did eventually get gold last year, and now he's sitting at 83 with just brilliant numbers. 12.3 K, 1.7 walks per 9. That's incredible. And 5.3 hits 9 in 27 innings of work. Now, he's 27 years old. He might get traded, and this doesn't really matter for MLB The Show purposes, but for fantasy, he could get traded, but he's also still really cheap, and I think they might keep him because he's not even ARB eligible until before 2024, so after next year. So I don't know that they'll necessarily trade him. I'm not sure that they should. Even though a great reliever is the last thing a rebuilding team needs, I still don't know that you give Bednar away unless you get something massive. Like, it's got to be a strong prospect. Doesn't have to be Glaber. We're not going to see Glaber for a Roldis type deal. A lot of teams just won't do that anymore. Even though Cubs won the World Series, they do not regret it. Plus, Glaber isn't even like that great. He's good, but like he's not otherworldly the way that we thought he was back when he hit 42 homers against Baltimore. But anyway, if they can't get something big for Bednar, they really should hang on. They need to press a team. If a team wants him, they better pony up. Kittredge is going to be on the IL for a while, so if you're invested in him, you either better be patient or you should start selling. Clase goes back to gold. Nice period for him. Unless he starts striking guys out like he did last year, he's not going diamond. And so he did have 15 K9 last period. That's why I liked him. I only had him going up +1, so I was a little shy on this. In fact, he went +3. But if he strikes out the way he did this last period, then of course he can get there. But we haven't consistently seen that. And one of the issues, and I say issue, it's only an issue for us in fantasy and MLB The Show world, because in real life, it hasn't affected his ability to be great. But the thing of it is, when he has that nasty, nasty cutter and sinker combo, he just gets so much weak contact that he doesn't need strikeouts. Like they're like a side benefit to him. He doesn't care. So he's not like your prototypical like Liam Hendricks, Josh Hader type guy who's like blowing everybody away, Edwin Diaz type. He's not finesse either. He throws a fucking 100-mile-an-hour cutter somehow, but it's usually breaking bats and getting 42-mile-an-hour exit velo type stuff. Clay Holmes goes +3 to 81. He looks amazing right now. Can he go diamond? He can. Will he? I would bet against it, barring a substantial strikeout surge. However, similar to the guy we just talked about in Manuel Clase, Clay Holmes has no need for strikeouts. You want to know why? Because he has an 83% ground ball rate, y'all. For context, that's fucking insane. Actually, context, that's not what context is, to call it fucking insane. I have to give you the context to show that it's fucking insane. My source is just trust me, bro. Just trust me, bro. Context. Last year, we'll do relievers, since relievers have smaller samples and they have more outsized numbers. We'll do minimum 40 innings, so not even like a qualified reliever season. The highest ground ball rate last year, minimum 40 innings for relievers, was 76%. The second highest was 69%, and it was Clay Holmes. Aaron Bummer was number one, by the way. And Clay Holmes' ground ball rate this year is 7 points higher than Bummer's was last year at 83%. So that's fucking crazy. And that's why he doesn't need strikeouts, and that's why he might not get a shit ton of Ks. Like, he gets 9.4. That's pretty good when you're this great. So bottom line is, be careful for Diamond, just because if he doesn't get the Ks, it's really hard to get there. And Chad's bringing up a great point, and one of my favorite, this is a great example to highlight it. Now, a lot of y'all know that I use K percentage a lot, and you probably hear me reference that, and you're like, well, what's that in a K9? And what's the difference? Why do you use K percentage instead of K9? Obviously, the game uses K9, so I try to use that more often. But in my everyday work and podcasting and all that, I use K percentage. The reason K percentage is better is because the denominator is your batters faced, whereas in K9, it's innings. And basically what can happen is you can almost be rewarded for being bad, or worse, I should say, not necessarily bad, but you can be rewarded for being worse as a pitcher via K9. And what I mean by that is, let's say that I have a 1-2-3 inning and I strike out one batter. Okay? That's so that's going to be a 9 K9 and a 33% K rate. Now let's say that you struggle through the inning. You give up a walk, 2 hits, maybe 2 walks, 2 hits, whatever. Four base runners, runner scores, but you strike out the side. So you have you have 3 strikeouts in the inning. So you have 27 K9, but you only have what would that be then? That would be a 38% strikeout rate there, which is higher, but what would you rather have? The guy who did 33% because he went 3 up, 3 down with just 1 K? Or the guy that needed to go 7 batters to do it? And so here's a great look at it, because that explanation sucked. I'm sorry. I got distracted. My sister's here right now, and she didn't know I'm recording a video, so she tried to get my attention. So just look at it here, okay? 29% K rate, only 9.4 K9. Now let's compare that to somebody who fits what we're talking about here with Sir Walks a Lot or something. Let's go to relievers. Let's keep it comparable here with relievers, reliever to reliever. Okay, Devin Williams, perfect example here. So he's got 15.6 K9, but his strikeout rate is only 11 points higher than Clay Holmes's, or 12 points, excuse me. Which, with that much of a K9 boost, you would expect a bigger split in K percentage, and it's just not there. So the bottom line is, don't ever think that if you're using K9, you're like ancient and you're not going to understand things and you're totally misleading people or anything like that, K9 is fine. But K percentage is more precise, and it's the better of the two. It's going to get to the heart of the pitcher's skill better. Okay? Sorry for the 5-hour explanation there. It got a little convoluted. It didn't quite go as I wanted. Hopefully you understand. If you have questions, I'll take them after the chat, or after the review here. All right, Paul Sewald, Nooch, Kimbrel down 1. He can easily go back to gold, obviously. David Robertson +2. Jordan Romano -1. Romano and Kimbrel are definitely hold for gold. Robertson, I mean, he's been really good. Yeah, I'll put him in hold for gold, sure. Anthony Bass gets position change. Who cares? Ryan Presley -2. Presley has been that bad with strikeouts. Wow. I didn't realize that. He's got 11 saves for me. That's all I need. I've got him for fantasy purposes, so I just need the Ks. Camilo Duvall loses his silver. He goes down to bronze. That's good for BR purposes. Lopez, we were talking about him earlier, +2 for him. Emilio Pagan, the home run machine. Barlow, both Barlows. And then Soto +2. Yay, Gregory Soto. Sabors. Oh, and look at that. Danny Jimenez, we were just talking about him earlier too. He only gets position change. Okay, so here's what I don't get on some things like this. They obviously went into his profile to do the position change. Why didn't they upgrade him? Right? Unless this is automated. Maybe the position change thing is just automated. Because I've done this before where I'm like, well, if they went in to change the position, why didn't they look at the stats? Because looking just at his stats for this year, his hit 9 should be way higher. His K9 could use like a couple points, and his BB9 is fine. And his home run rate, again, I know it doesn't move the needle on the overall that much. I think it moves it some, but like a 40-point homer 9 boost up to an 80 would maybe move him up like 2 overall points, if that. Whereas 40 points on any other category would move you up a shit ton. But the bottom line is he hasn't allowed a homer in the majors. 23 innings. He only had 1 inning back in 2020 and then 21 2/3 this year. So he needs an update. He should at least be a bronze. Anyway, I'm out here caping for Danny Jimenez. Nobody really cares. I understand. All right, catchers now. Wilson Contreras +2. He's right on the cusp for Diamond. He's going to get there if he keeps hitting like this. He has been amazing. Position changes do run in the off week. I don't know that necessarily gives more credence to the fact that they're automated, but they do run on the off week when it's a transaction only week. So they might be. Will Smith loses 1. He's just been kind of ho-hum. He's still pretty good for a fantasy catcher, but obviously relative to expectations, he hasn't been great. Same with Sal Perez. Actually, Perez has been bad. 632 OPS is rough. Smith is almost 100 points higher. So even though he's been a little disappointing too, it's not quite as bad as this. Yikes. Real Muto as well. All 3 of them, the top 3 fantasy catchers, they've all been fine, but not great, you know? Darno -1, T-Step. This one's sad, y'all. They did a pretty good run on him here. They tried. It looks like they tried. They really went in. They gave him the big contact boost against lefties. Little vision, a little bit of pop, but they had to hit the power against lefties, and they hit the discipline too, and it just ends up being nooched. So that sucks. And the reason this sucks, for those that don't know, is he's hurt now. He's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. So if you were holding for gold on Stevenson, if you need the stubs from that inventory, you can sell. Otherwise, just sit tight. It's going to be a while, though. It's going to, I mean, if he takes the full 6 weeks, then another 2 weeks of production, you're looking at least 2 months. I mean, I'm not going to hold. I'm invested pretty big in Stevenson. I'm not holding personally. So do with that what you will. If you want to tail me on that, if you want to ride it out, I get it. But it's not good. It's very much not good. Max Stassi gets +3. I mean, he can get gold even if he doesn't hit against lefties, but the easiest way would to just be have a good period against lefties. Jonah Heim +1, he's still very much hold for gold. Alejandro Kirk, +4. Easy hold for gold. He's been incredible. Trevino +4 into silver. I'm not really holding for gold with Trevino. I think he is kind of because he has good defense, he's basically, a solid silver, but I don't know about gold. I do think Wilson's brother, William Contreras, can get gold. He has been hitting like crazy. Now, he doesn't have as good a defense as Big Bro, so it will be a little harder for him, but he's only trying to get to gold, not diamond. So I think he can definitely get there if he keeps hitting well. Although, actually, hang on. Let me pull back on that a little bit. He might be, I don't want to say maxed out on hitting, but realistically, how much better would we expect him to get as a hitter? I would say not that much. So maybe he is a fringe hold for gold unless he somehow figures out defense. And then they have to upgrade his defense too. So he has to have like a sustained period of quality defense, and then we got to convince them to upgrade it. So no, actually, I'm going to pivot on that. He can get more offense, but I just don't think it's a very good bet to suggest that he's going to be better than this. This is a pretty strong offensive profile. It's just too high right now, and he's already at a 1066 OPS. It's unlikely that he gets better as a hitter. Keibert, no hold for gold for him. Mitch Garver -1. I'm not holding him for gold either. Narvaez, Nuched, Mejia, Haas -2 apiece. +1 for Gary. MJ Melendez +3. I think he can definitely get silver. I still think Melendez can get gold over the course of the summer because I really like his hitting profile. It's just going to take a while. And maybe now you can start investing, because when he first came up, his card was super expensive because, when rookies first come in and they're the last card to complete a collection, they all instantly skyrocket, and it takes a while for their price to come down. And if they're a top prospect like Melendez, not only are they expensive because of early rarity, but then people are also wanting them because they want to invest. So I don't know where his price is right now, but if it's smoothed out to where where a high bronze should be, then you can go ahead and invest for a long-term gold. Nito and Raleigh, no thanks. Rob Brantley back in the league, I guess. No new first baseman. Goldie. Diamondy just keeps going, man. +3 for him. What a stud. +2 for Pete, the polar bear, killing it. Shut up, Shar. -1 for Crone. Vlad gets nooched. Freeman -1. France gets nooched, which is what I thought, but I still am bummed by it. What are you barking at? I think Jen and my sister just went to bingo, so Shar just wanted the door open so she could see what's going on. Yeah, France got nooched here. That's kind of what I figured. It's fine. I'm still holding for diamond for sure. -2 for Bell. That really cuts into his diamond chances. He could still get there, but now you're fighting the uphill battle. You got to get those 2 points back and then 2 more. I don't think so. I'm not really holding that long for it. Rizzo nooched. Abreu +2. He got his gold right back. And I felt weird projecting that just because he had literally just gotten downgraded from gold. But I respect that SDS isn't, worried about doing that, because it's not like they were wrong. They were right to downgrade him, but then he just happened to turn it right back on as soon as he got downgraded and got his gold right back. +1 for Mancini. I had him going gold. I thought his excellence against righties would carry him. I didn't think that he was going to get killed against lefties, but they really hammered him. I think that's a little bit of catch up too. That's not based just off of this period. So again, I don't know if it's a balancing thing on some guys that are close. They're like, well, let's be a little tougher on him here so we don't have too many new goals. I don't know. Yes, his power against lefties has been low this year, but it wasn't worth -7 for this period alone. So it seems like it's based on previous periods, and then are we double counting it? And why did he go down 3 in contact? He's hitting 297 against them. Ones like this, I don't get. And when they don't make sense, I really struggle with it. And maybe there is something there that if I got the explanation, it would check out more, but I'm looking at it right now. So, okay. If you're going to go -7 on the power against lefties, I have to think that is based on the fact that he has a 108 ISO against them this year. So so the -7 is based on the whole year, it seems, because he had a 250 ISO against them this past period. But then why did he get -3 in the contact against lefties for hitting 250 this period when he's hitting 297 against them for the year? Like, why is the contact being judged on the 2-week period and the power is being judged on the season? Right? I don't think that makes a lot of sense. So I think this is a miss too. And again, it looks like I'm probably just, crying about the ones I missed. And I'm not just trying to be like, oh, I'm definitely right, I don't ever get anything wrong. Of course I do. I'm trying to see the underlying reasoning behind the ones I get wrong. And if it doesn't check out, I'm going to say something. And I think on this one, I think it's a miss. I think he shouldn't have gotten hit as hard against lefties and thus gone gold. Christian Walker +2. The singles are starting to fall for Christian Walker. He's getting his batting average back up. I mean, it's at 188 right now. Believe me, that is actually moving up. He was hitting like 162 a couple weeks ago, I think. Garrett Cooper is a big-time hold for gold. This dude just hits. And when he stays healthy, he's awesome. He doesn't often stay healthy, but you go look over his career, he's never been anything but a plus hitter. And he plays every day with Miami. He bats second. I really like him. I think he can definitely get gold. Luis Arraez got a position change over to first base. +11 contact. Look, I'm not holding for gold here, y'all. I'm really not. Because it's a very empty batting average. There is value to it, both in real life and fantasy right now. I mean, he's got a 438 OBP. That's unbelievably awesome. And the 346 batting average is very fantasy useful. But he has a 409 slug. His 2 homers already match his total from last year. And like, where does it go from here to get to gold? He's already at 120 contact against righties. Even if you give him 125, that's what, a 77? I just don't see it. So I don't want to be the wet blanket on Arraez because it's a fun season. I know a lot of us get excited about these unorthodox seasons that pop off, but he's a quintessential silver, and that's it. Hosmer down 3, good. Pujols down 3, Nathaniel Lowe nooched, and then Seth Breezy -1. Jake Hager is the new second baseman. Jose Altuve nooched. Jazz down 1, Edmund down 1. Neither of them lost diamond though, so who cares? +4 for Andres Gimenez. I talked about this the other day. I'm late to the Andres Gimenez train, but I'm here and I'm loving it, man. I'm big time in on this guy now. He goes way up. I only had him for 80, but he went crazy there. I wasn't, so the thing that had me nervous, and I even said that he's not a lock because of this. He hit .714 against lefties, but it was 8 plate appearances. So I was nervous. I was like, well, what if they only give him like 2 or 3 points? I also didn't know they were going to give him 32 clutch. So I'm happy to be too low on this one where I gave him an 80 and he went 83. And at least I had y'all investing for gold, and you get a little bonus the fact that he actually went higher than the 80 that I predicted. Albies is holding on to gold by a thread because he's been terrible for a while now. I saw some consternation in the Discord about Marte getting downgraded. Let me see what his period looked like here. It's a weird sentence out of context. I had him going +1, and instead he went -1, so... Nah. I don't understand this. I don't understand this at all. I think this one might be more egregious than the others that we've investigated, and I felt like they came out wrong. Okay, so here again, it looks like we have a full season for some things, just the roster update for others. And I don't know that that's the right strategy. It makes it really difficult for those of us that try to predict these things. I'll tell you that. Maybe, they can do whatever they want. It's their game, but damn, does that make it hard for us to do these right. Yeah, white. It makes it hard for stupid idiots to do a white. Guys, I once again want 100%. I give you all the best names, and I told you that Andres Gimenez was going to go to 80 free. I knew that 100%, and I also said Keto Marty was going to go down 1. I always get everything right. So I'm announcing a new price change. It's $111 a day. That's an introductory low rate. Subscribe to sharvestments.com. Goodbye. My dad sucks. All right, good commercial from Shar there. Shar's ready for some campaign ads. She's always going at me, man. Can't you just prop up your own product without shitting on me, man? Jeez. Anyway, guys, I don't think this one makes sense. So he definitely got the minus 10. What was it, 10? I honestly can't read that. I'm just guessing off of what I said. I'm so blind, y'all. I cannot make out a single digit on the screen right now. And I'm not sure if I'd really be able to read that it says Ketel Marte if I didn't already know. It's kind of a cluster of letters. I can vaguely make out the K and the L, and of course I know it says Ketel, so whatever. Anyway, the power is definitely for the season. Because this period, even though it was only 7 plate appearances, he had a 286 ISO and a 429 average. Now, he didn't lose contact, so we don't have to talk about the average, but he had a 286 ISO, which is isolated slugging. It's your slugging minus your batting average. It's your power. So he took the hit for the season. What has his... this one, I'm a little bummed on this one. I didn't even have him for a level change, so I'm not arguing for something that like, oh, I shouldn't have got this wrong. No, it's nothing like that. I'm fine not getting the +1 right. But the -1 that he did get, it doesn't really check out for me. Because even the contact, okay, yes, his strikeout rate is up this year to 19% from 16% last year. But this period, it's at 13%. So why are we hitting him now? He got hit on the April 29th update, and he lost his diamond. He got hit in the core 4, vision, and discipline. Just an across-the-board hit. So let's just, you know what? Let's do this. Let's go since then. So April 29th, what was the Wednesday before that? That would have been the 27th. So since the 27th until June 7th. We won't count the last 2 days because that update was already locked. He's hitting 323, 386, 551. Basically Ben Ketel Marte. Why are we still downgrading him? I agree, Shar. Is it possible they want to discourage going all in on investing? I certainly hope not. I don't think they are. I don't think they're manipulating things to curb the investment market. There are a lot of us that are on social media and all that, but we are still a very small portion of the community. I don't think they're making moves to undercut us, y'all. I really don't. Because, first off, nobody was projecting Ketel to go back to diamond. I had him for an 82. I only had him going up 1. So for this one specifically, like there's nothing that would really affect the market to go -1 here instead of the +1. And the only reason I'm spending so much time on it is because, like I said, when I get something wrong, I want to know why so I can fix it for the future. But this one just doesn't check out to me, man. I really think this one's a miss for them. I mean, I would at least like to hear their case. I'm always going to hear them out. I love doing this stuff. I respect what they do over there. They've always been really respectful to me and taking the time to look at my stuff and all that. And I greatly appreciate that. So there's no animus here. I just want to know what the deal is so that we're all on the same page type of deal. So anyway, sorry for the big tangents on these here, but I like to deep dive this stuff and really kind of understand it and give you guys some insight behind my process too. So at least if I get something like this wrong, if you agree with my process, then you understand why I got it wrong. You know? Kittredge is actually going to have Tommy John, not just loose bodies. Okay, so he's done for the year. Wow, that sucks. Santiago Espinal gets a position change and a +2. Big day for him. He's been awesome, and there's been some Espinal heads in the fantasy community from back in February. So shouts to those folks. They were big on him. A lot of guys liked him as their late round glue guy, their utility guy, and I love guys like that. Mine was my big one a couple years ago before he broke out was Cronenworth. Like that's the kind of profile this is. A little bit of power, a little bit of speed, some batting average, plays a bunch of spots. So, I'm a sucker for these types as well. I wasn't in on the Espinal train, and he's been awesome. He has really, really been great. He was great last year, too. Hit 311, 376, 405 in 246 plate appearances. Now he's doing well again in 214 plate appearances. Add it all up, and he has 460 plate appearances with 7 homers, 9 steals, and a 301 average. And a good glove. That's just a solid-ass player right there. That's just a solid-ass player. Speaking of Cronenworth, he is playing, he's not even playing as well as Espinal right now, but he's playing more in the pre-breakout era of Cronenworth, unfortunately. However, he has gotten back on track lately. If you cut him, within like the last 10 days or so, he hit you with that insta regret. Now, I didn't cut him. I did bench him for a weekend, and he fucking hit 2 homers on the weekend. It drove me freaking nuts. I'm so freaking angry. Ugh. But yeah, that was tough. But I got him back in the lineup for the 3rd homer that he's hit recently. What was it? June 4th. What was June 4th? Yeah, last Saturday. I sat him for the weekend. He hit homers on Saturday and Sunday. Thanks, Jake. Thanks, bud. He's like, no problem. I was like, I'm being sarcastic. He's like, okay. Anyway, can he go back to gold? Yes, he can. Would I invest? Depending on what the price is. I would invest in Espinal more. I gotta say, I believe in Espinal going gold more than Crony right now. But I would still invest in Crony. I can't quit him. You guys know he's my boy. Colton Wong +1. Chris Taylor -1. Owen Miller +2 into silver now. Chavis -1. B-Raj had a big 3-homer game. He's been playing a lot better lately, +4 for him. We're not worried about gold right now with Brendan Rodgers. It's too far away. This whole page right now, there's some gold candidates, but none of whom I'm investing in right now. We have to see more from them. There's still plenty of time to get in if they pop off. My favorites, if you do want to do some long-term, would be like, I don't know, probably Chavis, Rogers, and Lux. And what do they all have in common over the guys on this page? They got more power. Oh, and Taylor, too. The guys who got a little bit more power will probably be the ones. But honestly, I really wouldn't. I'd put my stubs elsewhere right now. But if you are a long-term head, I'll give you a few names there. Speaking of Glaber, we talked about him earlier. Look at him getting up to a 73. At a fella. All condescending. Luis Guillorme. Now, here's another Santiago Espinal. That I'm sure some people were in on in like their NL only leagues because he was not drafted in mixed leagues. He was picked up off the waiver wire, but now he's been awesome. He's really been hitting very well. And it's kind of a Luis Arraez type even more so than Espinal, to be quite honest, because it's really empty batting average, but it is useful. Mateo, Duffy, yeah, nothing there. I never said I'd be done by 6. In fact, I explicitly said the opposite, and that's why I did my DraftKings lineup before. I said I don't think I'll be done by 6, or I didn't want to be rushing, and I'm only on 3rd base by 6 o'clock. Guys, I can speed through. Jose Ramirez, Manny Machado, Rafael Devers. Yeah, okay, then we go on to there, and then we got the next one. It's okay, and then we're done. All right, that was a good update, huh? Is that what you want me to do? You want to use Micro Machine Man? Or you want to hear the explanations? I'm fighting back. I'm mad about Casey Mize, so I'm fighting back. That's really funny, closer. I gotta turn this fan toward me. I'm getting hot. You guys pissing me off. All right, Jose Ramirez. Will he be the first player to ever break 99 and go up to a 100? Maybe. Who can say for sure? No, seriously, what a god, though. He's so amazing. I love him. Manny Machado holds his 90 with a little nooch. -1 for Arenado. What? What? Explain. I promise I'm not going to do another 20-minute tangent. But how? How, Sway? You ain't got all the answers, Sway. Fucking how, though? But also why? Was he an 82.00000000001? Look at this beastly upgrade. How is that only a +1? I'm floored by this. No, the player of the month shouldn't have anything to do with it. In fact, the player of the month should be why he went diamond. Those two should not be related. If players deserve it, another card coming out should not prevent that. Those two things should not be related in a negative way. They should be related positively. He got player of the month Lightning, and he was an 83, so he also got Diamond Live Series. Like, that makes more sense. One thing I will say, when I first looked at this, I hadn't looked at the exact numbers, and I just kind of was like, I don't understand. They don't want two diamonds of the same player. Hello, John Smoltz? No, Yank fan, I'm sorry, that's just not how it works. That's just not how it works. And nor would it be a good policy if it was. That doesn't make any sense. And they're two vastly different cards. No one's using this in their ranked seasons anyway. So the two don't link. I'm sorry, they just don't link. They don't matter. Anyway, when I first looked over this, I just saw the 84 and I was like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. And then I started to stream shortly after. I didn't get to look at the numbers. A little bit in their defense, look at how robust this upgrade is. And it was only +1. Maybe they're just like, well, we can't fake it. Like we gave him what we gave him, and this is what it ended up being. I wonder if they were surprised that it ended up only being +1. It doesn't matter, Yank fan. It does not matter. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean, but you keep fighting back on this. That does not matter. Two golds of the same player that are completely disconnected from each other. One is a fucking 85 live series that nobody would ever use, and the other is a player of the month elite card. I know you're I'm saying it's not a possibility. It's not. So stop throwing it out. Don't be I'm just asking questions guy. No, it's not a thing. That's never been the case. Pardon me for getting heated. I'm just saying, you're just saying the same thing though, and it's frustrating me. I already shut it down. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. Anyway, sorry. I'm getting a little steamed. Bring it down. I'm sorry, Yank fan. Not mad at you. I'm just saying it's not a thing. Him getting a player of the month Lightning should have zero negative bearing on his live series card being upgraded. That's not a thing. But to give SDS a little bit of cover here, the fact that this only gave him +1, they were probably stunned as well. Because this is a fat upgrade. And I'm kind of surprised that it was he like 82.455555 and it rounded up to an 83, so he had to go all the way. Like, this is kind of crazy, to be honest. Not just that he's not a diamond, but that this only netted +1. That's crazy. That's crazy. Honestly, depending on how close he is, maybe they should have fudged it. I'm going to say it. He should be diamond, man. Come on. Nah, they got to give him what he deserves, but I am really, 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 really surprised that he didn't go diamond. Anyway, Austin Riley +2 gets into gold. He's back on track quite nicely. Brandon Drury +4. I did not have that. And you know what? I don't know if you're in the chat right now. October NYY is your Discord handle. He sent me a private message on Discord saying like, you know, check out these guys. He said he couldn't post in the Discord because he didn't have a verified number or whatever. So he messaged me about a few guys. I didn't see it because I don't get notifications on my phone or on my desktop for private messages on Discord. So I missed it. I looked at it today. One of the names he mentioned was Brandon Drury. And if I'd freaking checked it, I maybe would have been in on that because then I would have checked in on Brandon Drury. So credit to October NYY in the Discord. Good call here. I didn't think he was going to get this robust of a boost. I think this might be a little bit of a makeup. How well did he do this period? Did he really kill it this much? Because last period we had... What did we have? Did we have Drury on last period, or was it 2 periods ago? I don't even remember, to be honest. So this period he hit... I guess the thing that's got me really surprised is that... I guess he did lose 2. I was going to say he had a 111 ISO against righties. I don't know. I plumb missed him. I flat out missed Drury. I own that one. We had Drury shares from before, though. So while I did not have him on the sheet, if you've been keeping an eye on Drury, you should have had some investment in him from 2 updates ago, from when we had him going silver. I just didn't know that he was going to go straight up to gold this one. So well, he did have a 500 ISO in power against lefties this period, so there has to be some makeup there too. I agree, but I'm not mad about this one. I didn't have this one, but I have Drury, so it's fine. We were invested from previously. I didn't know they were going to be so aggressive on him. I just flat missed it. Cabrizi gets nooched, so does LeMahieu. Urshela gets nooched. That's tough. I think I had him going to 79, right? Yeah, I had him for 79 because of how well he had played against righties, but they hit him pretty hard against lefties. If I recall, he had a small sample against lefties. Sorry, I'm not going to look up everyone else. We'll be here for 5 hours. I'm sorry. Yeah, he had 11 plate appearances against lefties. They kind of hammered him for 11. And I guess my overarching theme here is the inconsistency. That's my tough part. Like, 11 plate appearances is getting hammered here, but then 10 plate appearances of quality work for somebody's not getting an equal jump. So it's like, it's become a lot more art than science right now. It's been a little tough. Been a little tough to get some of these right, because I don't know if they're going off for the full season or the 2 weeks, but we'll persevere. We're not worried about it. I am holding for gold on Urshela. Not a ton. Like, let's say, let's go to somebody that I like Espinal or Cronenworth, right? I like them both as like strong hold for golds. Let's say I would want to get on somebody I really like. I would get like 100 shares. For somebody like Urshela, I'll be more in like the 30 shares, right? So I'm not quite as in on him. He is a hold for gold, but it's a lower tier investment is what I'm trying to say. Chapman +1 and P. Wizzy +1. They both strike out so much. They're so volatile. I wouldn't want to deal with either in a hold for gold situation. So pass there. Longo gets nooched. Keep an eye on him, though. He had that hot streak. He's still kind of, barely played this year because of the injury. He can get hot again and go gold. You don't have to invest right now, but if he catches another heater right around update time, we'll jump in then. Tough scene for Eduardo, man. Has a cycle and can't even get a 10-point upgrade. Boo. I'm just kidding. Suarez -1. Bobby Witt, he'll get silver eventually. Will he go gold? He can, but there's no need to invest. He's so far away right now. And the thing of it is, if he does start to hit like that major heater in the summer, we can jump in at a fair price. Like, he won't be cost prohibitive if he has like 4 good games in a row. Now, if one of them's like a 3-homer game and he gets supercharged, that will change the calculus. Christopher Morel has been awesome for the Cubs. I definitely think he can go silver, and I wouldn't even rule out long-term gold. I had him actually, I had him for a big boost. This is another one where I'm like, why won't they do catch-up here? If they're doing catch-up on other players, why don't they do it on a rookie who has proven, or not proven, because 84 at-bats, you haven't proven anything, but has shown so far that he's a monster. So why didn't he get a little catch-up, move him at least up to a high bronze? Now, I had him for 75, and I acknowledged in the sheet that was a big call. That was like a long shot, but damn. I thought he deserved more than just a 71, personally. Brendan Donovan +2, Miranda 1, Rivera 1, and Berger 4. If I was going to invest in anybody in this group, honestly, it'd probably be Berger. I still love Jake Berger, man. He's a lefty destroyer right now, but he's a former first-round pick who's dealt with a shit ton of injuries. This dude has a lot of talent. And if Moncada keeps playing the way he is, I think Berger needs to start playing over him. So, we're a long way from any sort of level changing that matters. He's got to get to silver before we're even on, the gold concern train. But for now, you can get some. He's a penny stock, right? You get a bunch on a common and just put them off to the side. Morel did get a tops now. I did forget about that. Good call, Bloobs. Trey Turner and Nico Horner +1 each. I mean, I'm not going to invest in Horner for Diamond, but it is on the table, right? If you're an 84, it is on the table. Just these all average, no pop guys, they worry me. But his defense and speed are so good that his batting profile doesn't even need to be that great. Now, I like this for somebody like a Harrison Bader, right? I talk about the same thing with him. His power and speed is so good, or excuse me, his defense and speed are so good that his hitting doesn't even have to be that good. I think Bader's a much better hitter than Horner, though, because he actually has some power in his profile. So that's why I prefer somebody like that over Horner, even though they're pretty similar, Bader and Horner. The bottom line is they're 1 point away. So if you want to invest, I get it. I'll choose to invest in Bader over Horner. But bottom line is they're not that different. Lindor, Bogey, both get nooched. Both have diamond upside, but they really need to get going to get there. Correa and Bichette up one. Bichette back into gold. I'm going to say I think he gets diamond at some point this year. I absolutely do. It'll be a while. It'll take 2-3 updates at least from here. But I think he gets back to diamond. He's on a heater. His early season struggles didn't really look like they were like skills degradation. It looked like a standard cold streak. I think he has a great shot. Baez -2. It should be -50. Crawford +1. Crawford's hold for gold. Even though he has slowed down from his early season start, I still like him as a hold for gold. Pena +1. Iglesias +1. I do love Pena as a hold for gold for sure. Somebody in chat asking about Jimenez. Yes, he is on the diamond cusp now. I'm late to the hype train with him, but I'm on board. I'm holding for diamond. Iglesias seems to get gold like once every year, right? He doesn't even always hold it. Sometimes he goes gold for 2 weeks and then loses it, or a month. He'll get gold at some point this year. I don't know when it'll be, though, to be honest, because it's all batting average related. So he's not a profile I worry about investing in, because I just think it's too volatile. And because now this is a good thing to point out with the changes this year to the quick sell. Used to be somebody like Iglesias, you invest in him at 400 as a silver, you get a shit ton, he hits gold, you get your 600 per because you sell for quick sell 1,000. Well, now he would need to get up a good bit higher than baseline gold to really have a quick sell price worth anything. And I don't think he's more than an 80 max, which is quick sell 400. I don't know where his price is right now, but I just don't think guys like this are as worth it as they were in past years because of the change. He's at 140. Like if you put in orders right now for like 150 and he goes up to an 80, that's a quick sell 400. Like it's something, but it's not enough to make it worthwhile to me. So your mileage may vary, but he's not even that close to gold. He's still 2 points away, and it all has to come from batting average. So it's not for me personally. Going back over to shortstops. Corey Seager -1. He got going for a while, but then came right back down to earth, didn't he? Miguel Rojas +2, Farmer +3. Farmer, man. I roasted the shit out of him all offseason because I just didn't really think his breakout season last year was all that great, but he's hot again. He is just destroying lefties, though. That's the thing with short side platoon guys is, they have to kind of have the schedule go well for them to even get a heater where they face a bunch of lefties. But hey, he's playing well. Hats off to him. I was pretty negative on him, and he's been playing very well. So I was wrong, at least so far. Dansby Swanson +2. Swanson will probably hit gold at some point as well, but man, has he been volatile the last couple seasons. B. Crawl -2, Kiner Falefa +1, Andrus, Perdomo, Ramon Urias, Luis's brother, Walls, Stott, Gordon, and Reynolds. Stott's actually gotten going now lately, but I don't see an investment opportunity. I just wanted to point out that at least in the last few days, he's actually had a few key hits. Maybe he'll finally get going a bit. I shouldn't say finally. He has like 80 major league plate appearances, but his first handful of plate appearances were really bad in the big leagues. We got Oscar Gonzalez. Damn, they brought him in as a common. I thought his hitting would be a little bit better. I like Oscar Gonzalez. Steele Walker, Texas Ranger, too perfect. Alvarez, 2 more points. This guy's just a monster. Austin Hayes on the cusp of diamond. Like, I could have never predicted that. Frankly, I didn't realize how great his defense was. And that's obviously been a big factor here that really sets him up. And now he's in the realm. And, you know, we know about the new left field fence in Camden that is like crazy, and it is stifling some offense. But as the weather warms up there, we will see the ball fly a bit more, even with the new wall there. So if you got Hayes shares, just hang on to him. Peterson +3. I don't think he'll go diamond, though. I think this is kind of his cap. The only way he would really go diamond is if it was perfectly timed to him hitting like a 10-game hot streak with like 4 or 5 homers leading right into an update. Like, that's the only way I could really see it. Because he doesn't really hit against lefties at all. So he's like, got to do it all against righties. And it has to be confined to that real, that 2-week period leading right into the update. So it's great that he's an 83. And another good thing about the new quick sell prices is that you can actually cash in on this now. Because if you bought him as a silver and you didn't quick sell at 80, now he's up to 1,200, and you can still get plenty of profit off of that. No way, 8-man. IKF's going to be in the home run derby? What a joke. JD and Benny go down 1 apiece. I still think Benny can get gold, but he has been sputtering a bit of late, and his power just hasn't been there. I think he just might be stifled power-wise by that park, which makes sense. KC's a difficult park to hit in, and that might kind of curb the upside that I thought. I really liked Benny coming into the year. I still feel good about that with the 305 average, but I was hoping he could get back into like the low 20s home runs, and I just think the park might stifle that. Canha +1. I will say, we dealt with this a lot, what was it, last year with him, and desperately trying to get him to gold. I was scarred by that. I'm not going through it again this year. If you guys want to go for Canha, I'll be rooting for you. I like Mark Canha a lot, but I'm not investing for gold. It's an elite troll. Oh. Is it elite, though? Because everyone's reaction is just like, oh, that sucks. So, like, who's being trolled? Him? Is he trolling himself? Because everyone's just going to say, oh, no, that sucks. No one wants to see you do that. So in the end, isn't he just hurting his own feelings? Ian Happ gets nooched, +1 for Andrew Vaughn. I like both of them as hold for golds, but between the two, I prefer Vaughn. I love Andrew Vaughn, and he's having his breakout season so far. Michael Brantley and Connor Joe -1 apiece. I still like Connor Joe quite a bit. He could hit the right Coors homestand for an update to get him to gold as well. I bought Connor Joe shares at the beginning of the year. I'm hanging on. Tommy Pham +2. I have to say he's going to go diamond or else he'll fucking slap me. Fucking child can't keep his hands to himself. The fact that he thinks he's in the right on that Jock Peterson thing too is so fucking weird, dude. Keep your hands to yourself, you goof. What a weirdo, man. That's some weird shit. Like, he's so proud of himself for doing it. It's like, the fuck? I love Schwarbs, but he just doesn't have enough batting average to go gold right now. So unless we start to see the hits falling that aren't just homers, I don't see how he gets to gold. +3 for Profar. This is kind of like the Christian Walker thing I mentioned earlier. Everything was in place except for the singles. We couldn't get the singles to drop for Profar. He was hitting like 186 with a tiny BABIP, but his power was there. He was stealing some bases. Everything looked good. Now the singles are falling. He's up to a 252. He's having a really nice season. I think Profar can go gold. It's going to take a while, but I think he can get there. Soler +1, he can definitely get silver. So can Lane Thomas, but that's about it for them right now. Harold Ramirez gets nooched. Quan -1. Remember when he was the hot shit? What happened to Andrew Vaughn? Nothing. Jack Sawinski +3. Jack Sawinski's been hitting for some really nice power, y'all. Now, he needs to figure out a way to get his OBP up over 300 before I'm really excited about him. But Pittsburgh might have a little something there. Trevor Larnach +2 and Garlick +2. Over to shortstop. Over to center field, Michael Harris gets added. The rookie for the Braves comes in at a 66. Fishboy -2. How dare they? I know he had a huge cold streak, but how dare they? Robert nooched. Buxton -2. Bader, Springer, and Marte +1 apiece. And there's Bader. I talked about him earlier. I do like him for Diamond more than I like somebody like Nico Horner, just because I think he's got a better hitting profile. Bottom line is they're both on the cusp, and if you're invested in either, just hold. But if you're trying to pick one between the two, I prefer Bader over Horner personally. Springer, of course, can go Diamond. He's been there a million times over his career. Marte +1. He can get the Diamond as well, but it'll take a little while longer. He's been hitting pretty well of late, if I recall. But he needs 3 now to get there, so that's still a good ways off. I wouldn't necessarily invest for that. +2 for Adolis Garcia getting the gold. He is a perfect example of what we were talking about with the defense and speed, making it so your hitting profile doesn't need to be that good to go gold, because that's a pretty pedestrian hitting profile. And now he gets +2 and goes to gold. But I think this will probably be his cap. I don't really see Adolis pushing much beyond this personally. So just keep that in mind. Good for him. I'm glad he was able to get back to gold. You know, he had that great start to last year and then kind of went down from there. But he's been good. Oh, and chat's telling me Starling Marte's hurt right now, so I missed that. Pardon me. I didn't want to invest in him anyway, and now that I'm learning that he's hurt, I definitely don't want to. Kiermaier is another one of those guys. Speed and defense is there, but even with a lower hitting threshold needed to go Diamond, it's still very hard for Kiermaier. J-Rod's got to go gold soon. I'm kind of surprised that he's not already gold, but he's got to be headed there in the near future. He's an easy hold for gold. Brian Reynolds gets nooched. He needs to hit a hot streak, obviously. Henry said the entertainer's been icy, so I understand why he lost gold. +1 for Enrique. Daza a couple. -2 for Grich. +2 for Alek Thomas, and now he's in silver. Definitely holding long-term for gold with Alek Thomas. Absolutely. Derek Hill +1. He's really just defense and speed. No bat to speak of. Albert Almora. Taylor Trammell +7. They get a fat boost for him. Victor Robles +1. Ortega, Senzel, and Odubel all nooched. And then Luis Gonzalez gets +3. All right, finishing it up with right field. Dylan Thomas and Jalen Ortiz are the newbies. +1 for Aaron Judge. And he even got destroyed against lefties and still got +1. Wow. +2 and a position change for Acuna. Mookie +3. I mean, just 3 of the very best players. Five of the very best players in baseball right here in right field. Just absolute studs. Tucker gets Diamond. I know there were still some worries that he wouldn't get it this week. I felt really confident. I felt good 2 weeks ago, to be honest. I had him going Diamond last time. He didn't get it. I wasn't worried. Just hold the course. 2 weeks later, we get our Diamond. So all good there, you know. Teoscar -2. Totally get it. If you were holding him for Diamond, I think you should sell out. -1 for Nimmo, but he still holds gold. He has been in a cold snap lately. Blackman got nooched, and I was thinking that he could get there. And the one thing I said, 386 average against righties should be enough unless he's hammered for a 200 average against lefties in 18 plate appearances. Be careful. And that's exactly what happened. They fucking hammered him. They absolutely hammered him. Brutal. Josh Naylor -1. Nelson Cruz -1. Cole Calhoun +2. And Jackie Bradley Jr. +3. So, that's pretty much it. I still like Naylor as a hold for gold long term. I'm still sticking by him. I don't, Cole Calhoun just had that big heater, and he's been properly rewarded for it. I don't really see gold upside for him. As for Nelson Cruz, he's hit better lately, but I'm not getting into that. I'm not getting into the headache with him. It reminds me of Franmil Reyes from last year. Although, well, not quite the same, because Franmil Reyes was hitting well last year, but couldn't get there because of his defense. But, Cruz has been hotter of late. I don't want to deal with it. So, anyway, that's the roster update number 4. Hopefully you got some names to invest in for the next couple weeks. If you have questions, you can always put them in the comments of the YouTube or twitch.tv/spore. You can ask them. We'll go over it. Obviously, if you have questions about specific players, I'll take those right now. As far as like who's going to go diamond next time, I don't know. It's 2 weeks away. That is one thing I don't like right after a roster update. It's like, who's going gold next? It's like, I have to see some stats, right? I don't know. Whoever does well in the next period. So anyway, thank y'all so much for watching. Hopefully you guys had some good hits here. There were a lot of diamonds, a lot of golds. A few we disagreed on with SDS, but you know what? It's all good, because if you're invested in some guys that just missed, be patient. We will get where we need to be with a lot of these guys that we're still very eager with. So happy investing, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.